5 great obscure old video games, 300 sub special. Hey, it's Prince of Queens, and I just hit 300 subs, so I figured I would make a pure fun video featuring 5 old video games. 300 subscribers is not a lot, but I realized that I could make the joke that the subscribers I now have could be referred to as my Spartans, like the movie 300, which I actually never saw and am nowhere near ripped enough to have appeared in, but I am actually rather masculine looking with a scruffy beard, and I'm gay, so maybe it can work. Hopefully, I am the prince that you trust to lead you into the metaphoric internet battles of ideas in which we absolutely do not send threats, dox, or sexually harass anybody, but that remains to be seen. Anyhow, I am a legit lifelong video game fan that got my first gaming system when I was 5 years old in '87 and was completely, absolutely obsessed with video games all through college, though stopped playing them heavily around 2005 when I got dedicated to producing electronic music. The last systems I had prior to this year were PS1 and N64. I'm no Anita Sarkeesian who blatantly lies about her fandom, nor Milo Yiannopoulos who openly admits to not enjoying video games even though he was involved in Gamergate, nor am I even a Dave Rubin who doesn't know how to play current generation games with dual joysticks. I have an Xbox 360 and love Skyrim, enjoyed Mirror's Edge a bit, though found it stressful, and am eager to get into Dragon Age Inquisition once I have more time to start a new RPG after this election is over. I also want an Xbox One. But really, considering a lot of my audience is a bit younger, I figured the most valuable insight I could offer would be towards some games that came out in the early to mid 90s and prior that are not quite classics by most standards in terms of popularity, but I believe would hold up to this day if you are a real gamer. Keep in mind, I took this footage from other YouTube channels and I will link them in the description. Number 1 is Life Force for the NES, which is a Konami game where you have to enter the up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, select, start code to get 30 lives or whatever if you want to have a chance in hell of beating it. It's basically like Contra, but a spaceship game, as you can see. The premise is a side-scroller like shown here, or an overhead view in other levels in which you shoot stuff and get power-ups and get fancier gunfire and little orbs that go around your ship to shoot with you and stuff. While there have been many games like this, such as the arcade hit Raiden, it was possibly the first of its kind and likely set the template for such spaceship and airplane shooters in the future. And it's playable to this day. Number 2 is Kid Chameleon for Sega Genesis, which very few people ever seem to have or even know about when I was a kid, but I honestly thought it was one of the sweetest game ideas of the 16-bit generation. It was a platform game where you were this boy that got caught in a VR machine and you could grab various different masks and stuff that gave you different abilities, maybe a bit like Mega Man. There was a tornado suit that could make you fly, a hockey mask which would allow you to throw axes at bad guys, and probably 7 other modifications to help you navigate this extremely difficult game, which I actually am pretty positive I never beat it. Truthfully, it probably wasn't popular simply because of how hard it was. Number 8, Ecco the Dolphin, also for Sega Genesis, which was yet another super difficult game. It was somewhat of a labyrinth-oriented game with various bad guys who weren't super hard to kill, but what made it super difficult was that since you are a dolphin, you have to breathe and find air sources, or you will start to lose life points and eventually die. I can't remember if I ever beat this, but I certainly got to the final boss a few times, which was this crazy alien. It was really hard to beat. Funny story about this game was that they published an article in Vice magazine maybe last year about how it was the brainchild of some weird NASA researcher or something from the 70s, maybe who decided that people should be prepared to deal with learning about how to communicate with aliens if that happens. So he did a bunch of drugs and tried to learn how to talk with dolphins or some strange crap before his funding was pulled. ECHO stands for something like Extraterrestrial Celestial Communications Operation or something, ECCO. So yeah, find that article, it's kind of cool. Number 4 is Kirby's Dream Course for Super Nintendo, which is one of my all-time favorite games for any system. But I think was simply overlooked by a lot of people because while it had the popular character Kirby in it, it was technically a golf game, and I think a lot of people assumed it wouldn't be any fun because of that. However, as you can see, it was completely bizarre and had almost nothing to do with what most people think of as golf. It's too complicated to describe the gameplay very well, so I'll just let this footage play a bit so you can see. Wow. Isn't it cool? I love this. Man, my friends Steve and Katie and I spent endless hours playing this game, and also Super Street Fighter 2 and the original Mario Kart. NES was really the system I think of most fondly, like I'm looking back on it all. Number 5, also for SNES, was a game called Uniracers, which I am not positive I actually ever owned, but rented several times with the same friends. Truthfully, it isn't one of the most amazing video games ever, but lots of people probably forgot about it, so I figured it'd be fun to include in this video. It plays a bit like a combination of old Sonic the Hedgehog games and maybe Tony Hawk Pro Skater, but it's definitely a lot of fun. If you want to slam like a Red Bull and smoke a few bong rips just for the intense visuals, if nothing else, I'd figure I'd put this in the video, you know, and yeah, go try to find some emulator of SNES and check it out while you're stoned and on Red Bull. It's pretty fun. All right, guys. That's all for tonight, but I think I'll likely make more videos about games in the future because I love nerding out probably more than I love complaining about SJWs and fourth wave feminists, only that is a battle that needs to be fought right now. I also love comic books, especially DC hero stuff, so if you want me to make a video about such things, feel free to ask me some questions in the comment section. Alright guys.